And here on today's show, we have with us quite an interesting guest. He has what some would call the gift of ghosts or the sense of spirits. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Daniel Jackson. Sir, Daniel.
Hello, Heath. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, sir. How are you guys? We were having an awesome time backstage, so trust me, you guys. We'll probably eventually do one of those things like people can pay for the backstage.
Backstage was my wall. That's it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, there was no big party going on. There was no pizza. There was no Hooters girls, nothing like that.
Exactly. We don't have all the booze and the piles of just all the money just stacked to the sky. That we are not that deep into the millionaire world yet.
Yeah, no, don't want to be.
Right?
Not my thing.
So there is a lot to talk about here when it comes to the world of mediums and just speaking on the topic of what some folks would call spirits, ghosts, apparitions, because it does have its fair share of controversies, but also it has a lot of hair-raising stories. But, with you, it's not so much about the Hollywood of, style of Halloween stuff of ghosts and goblins. No. And we'll definitely get into all that. But before we get into that, we just want to go ahead and highlight our sponsor, which, of course, is this network's coin, the Fox D Coin. Fox D Coin is a totally community-driven coin with no premier and no developer's wallet, which is keeping the coin held behind a wall. FoxD is a 100% transparent coin that's open to everybody and anybody, making it where it is a coin for the people and by the people. The unique advantage that FoxD offers is what we're utilizing right now, which is the FoxD network here on the Fox Den. Coin gives everybody the opportunity to get seen on our network and gives your content a chance to shine with your audience growing with you and, of course, with the network as we expand. We're always accepting new guests, streamers, and contributors to the network. So if you or somebody would like to expand with your brand, you know what to do. Check us out on our website at foxdcoin.com. That is Fox, F-O-X, the letter dcoin.com, where you can download your own wallet. Or if you want to buy some coins yourself, you can find us on Bilaxy, Crex24, BitSales, FX, and Free Exchange. So getting into it, I just got to ask, tell the folks a little bit about yourself, kind of who you are, where you're from, your backstory, and really how you got into this whole world of being a medium, a sightseer, or how would you call it exactly?
I call myself a spirit medium due to the fact that even though I do see spirit 24/7, I mean, pretty much I have to take medicine just to go to sleep at night, because if I don't, they will wake me up in the middle of the night.
Wow.
But I call myself that because when I get messages, I'm not necessarily getting in touch with your mom and dad or your uncle who has passed away. I'm talking to my what we call spirit guides, and I'm getting messages from them, and then they are giving me the information about whoever it is that they want me to talk to. Or I mean, like if someone books a reading with me, as long as they make the intention to actually book a reading with me, I just start getting messages that just start coming in. So then I'll write it down, and then when they come in, I'll go, hey, you got this going on and this going on. And they're like, how the hell you know that? I said, well, you are talking to the medium.
Right.
Oh, well, how'd you know before I even came here? You don't say you're psychic. And I say, well, I'm not psychic. I don't go with the psychic thing, because when you put that psychic thing out there, people go, okay, what am I thinking now?
Right.
And I go, well, I know what I'm thinking. I think you're an asshole, but because you're trying to pull a trick on me or something like that. But it doesn't work like that. And they do that sometimes. I do a live show, and they come in and they try to trick me. They want to trick me because if they don't believe in it, they don't think anyone else should believe in it. So they'll come in and they'll say, I want to talk to my dead brother. Now, see, what they don't know is when they say that to me, the first thing I ask my spirit guides is this person lying to me? And I get touched on my face for yes and no answers. And I get different yeses all the time, but I get one that feels like a tear running down the side of my face. It just feels like blood's dripping down my face. And they call it the tears of blood. So, and when I feel that, I go, are they lying to me? And I get, yes. I go, oh, okay. And then I'll go, hold on. I can't answer that question. And I go, oh, but I thought you were the medium. You can. I said, well, I would be able to answer that question if it was a truthful question. It's not. And they say, what do you mean? I say, you're asking me about your dead brother, but your brother's not actually dead, because the reason being is you want to prove that I'm wrong. and call me a fraud or something like that. But I know you're lying to me. So what you need to do is exit the room because no one wants to talk to a liar, especially not me.
Mm,
And then they get all angry, and then everybody in the room will go, "Get out of the room! You're a piece of crap!" And
right.
yeah, so I'm basically a human lie detector. I can tell when anyone is lying to me, especially when people are actually telling me and talking to me and telling me about their story. I'm
Mhm.
actually getting touched, going, "Yes, this is exactly what they're telling is the truth. Yes, yes, yes." I'm just getting touched the whole time.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you talk about people messing with you. I'm sure you probably get more than likely because I know a lot of people that may claim they're psychic or that sort of stuff probably get
Yeah.
asked,
A lot of them
"What is
claim, and
their?"
the ones who claim, a lot of them who claim they are actually aren't. Those ones don't like me because I call them out.
Nice, nice. And
Because
I'm
I don't
sure
play
you
that shit.
probably now talking about people asking you kind of stupid questions, I guess if you will. I'm sure you probably get asked this all the time. Hey, what is this week's mega lottery numbers? Is it 24?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If I knew the mega lottery numbers, you think I'd be sitting here?
exactly. And I mean, at least it's honest. At least, again, like you said, at least you're honest with people. Like, look, I'm not that kind of,
Yeah, I'm
you
not a
know.
circus performer. I'm not your I'm not sitting here with a turban on my head and a big glass ball in front of me pretending like I can see into it because the only thing I can see into that is a glass ball. I can see the table on the other side of the ball. Yeah, a lot of that stuff is I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not what I do. And the whole lottery thing, um, where spirit is, they don't have money. So they
Mhm.
don't care about our money and they want us to actually get rid of money because it means nothing, that we've
Right.
lost the true value in this world, which is us,
Right,
you know?
exactly. Well, and kind of going back to the primary question though, is how
Sure,
did you become a medium? Like tell us your story about like, kind of who you are, kind of where you grew up in, and
sure.
really how, because when I was reading on your website of,
You're
your
like, "Holy
story,
shit."
it was very like interesting, how so tell the folks at home kind of your backstory of how you became such a medium.
Sure. I grew up in a small town in, New Jersey, Southern Jersey, because Northern Jersey's crap,
You know
whatever.
what you mean, Boise? You
Yeah,
go to
Jersey, yeah.
Boise?
No, no, nobody talks like that. You know who talks like that? People from who are from New York who visit New Jersey Shore. That's who talks like
Yes.
that. Yeah, Jersey Shore people, they're not from New Jersey, they're from New York. But yeah, so
Mhm.
I grew up there, right across the river from Philadelphia, right next to I mean, 2 blocks away. I mean, we had blocks at my neighborhood were small, and I go down this
Mhm.
hill and I'm right there at the Delaware River.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. What my favorite saying is, "Kiss your girlfriend where it smells. Take her to New Jersey." So, yeah, because it smelled like oil and, oh,
Oh,
when I was
I
a kid,
believe it.
I used to swim in the Delaware River. Do you know when we used to know when it was time? We would wait for an oil slick to go by, and then we could jump in the water because
Oh my
we were
god.
that fucking smart. Yeah, so, yeah, that's why I am the I'm s COVID ain't got shit on me,
Oh, of
so,
course.
no, I'm already okay. But, the town had a small battlefield in it, and it was where the Hessians fought. And had a little hospital in it. So a lot of the homes in that area were actually haunted from the other kids that I would talk to in the neighborhood. They would all see things, but we were seeing things at the home. Like my sister was getting ready for school one time, and I walked in the bathroom, and my mom was helping her, and they were looking at the full length mirror on the door, and there was another woman standing in the mirror, and she had a colonial outfit on.
Really?
Yeah, and then these three, there was three of them that lived in the house. There was a woman and two men, and they stayed in my sister's room. You could see the shadows on the wall. They would move ashtrays. My brother and I would, two brothers, would be downstairs watching TV. And back in that was back in the 70s. You had record players. You had to lift the
Mhm.
record up and hit that switch. Well, it would turn records on, but not only do that, but it would switch records.
What?
Yes, it's kind of, and
No.
we'd be, and my one brother, the oldest, he'd be like, "You guys got to go upstairs and turn it off." And we're like, "Oh my god, I don't want to do that. It's gonna kill us. It's gonna kill us. Oh my god." But yes, at one point, when my mom and I and my dad, we left and moved down to Delaware, where I'm at now, and my brother bought the house, and he had some friends come over to the house. Now, in front of the house is a big picture window, so you can actually kind of see in the house. And he had some friends come over to the house, and they're knocking on the door, waiting for him to come to the door. And they're looking, they see people walking around the house, and they call him up and said, "Hey, how come you're not answering the door?" And he says, "Because I'm not there. We're on a camping trip."
Oh. What? So it's
Yeah.
like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, except instead of, the Michael Jackson poster and, Michael Jordan, it's actual spirits.
Yeah, walking around the house, and they can see them walking around the house. So,
My
so
God.
yeah, we came down to Delaware, and then as we're here, my mom and dad are not seeing anything else, but I am, and I continue to see it. So much so, like I was playing in a band back in the '80s. I had the big hair, wearing a zebra stripe spandex. It was not pretty, but I thought it was cool. And yeah, I got pictures of it. Oh man, I was a big boy.
Okay.
I was a big boy back then too. I was like 350 pounds.
Oh,
I had more-
really?
I had more chins in a Chinese phone book. I was freaking huge. And yeah, it was big. Yeah, I want the baby in my belly. Yeah, I was huge. But I came home from a gig one night and I laid down in bed. It was like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and something laid down next to me.
Hmm.
And I felt it depressed the bed. I felt the pillow squish down. I was like, what is going on? I looked up 3-4 times, nothing. And then that final time when it did it, I looked up, and whatever it was there, it picked up the blanket that I had on top of me and brought it up to the ceiling and shook it and then dropped it over on top of me again. And then after that, I slept on the couch for 2 years, Heath.
Wow.
Because I was scared shitless because I was
would
raised,
be too.
raised Catholic, raised to think that these things are demons and devils and all this stuff when they're actually not. But yeah, those kinds of things happen. I remember my grandfather went away. He was staying with us, and he went to visit my uncle. And I was hanging out in his room, looking at pictures of my grandmother because she had passed away a couple of years prior to that. And I was laying there in the bed, and I kind of started to fall asleep. Well, my sister was down, and she had this animal with her pet. It's called a ferret. Nasty little thing. Oh, that thing bit me in the nuts one time, freaking thing. So,
oh, jeez.
Yeah, awesome, right? Yeah.
No, not awesome.
Yeah, no, I didn't think so either. So I'm laying in bed, and I hear this squeak noise, and I'm like, I said to this animal, I said, hey, knock it off. I kept doing that, and then finally I sat up one time to take a look, to tell it to knock it off, and my grandfather's rocking chair was rocking, and my grandmother was in it.
Wow.
And she turned around and looked at me, and I looked at her, and I was like, oh, and she went, and then gone. And wow. That was cool. I got to see my grandmom again, but I mean, if I want to see my grandmom now, I just ask. So, but yeah, and my grandfather and my dad and my mom, see them all the time. So because you can do that. I was in the bedroom one time with a girlfriend. I was around 27, 28, something like that at this time. And we were watching TV, and she was at the foot of the bed, and I was up by the head of the bed. We were watching Rocky Horror Picture Show, as a matter of fact. And all of a sudden, from the closet, this big white thing, it was like maybe 3 feet thick and like 4 feet long, snaked its way out of the closet, just coming across the room in front of the TV, got halfway across the room, and then just disappeared. And my girlfriend turned around. She said, did you see that? I said, yeah, I saw that. Let's get the heck out of here. I mean, but these are the kinds of things. I'd be sleeping at night. I'd see shadows. It looked like a person's peeking around the door to see if I'm in there and stuff like that. All kinds of stuff. And then eventually I moved out of there. I got married, moved over to Maryland. I was seeing things there as well. I was getting things like messages. I was riding my motorcycle one time coming home from work, and I had music on and in an MP3 player and headphones in, and all of a sudden I hear the music going like slowed down, like a tape went like that. And I heard a voice come through and said, "Everything's going to be okay, my son." And I was like, "What? What the fuck?"
Whoa!
And the music came right back on. I was like, "What was that?" Oh, it was crazy. I was in. I'm diabetic, so I had a problem with my foot, and I was in my wife and I were at a mall, and I said, I got to go to the bathroom. I had that boot on, the Frankenstein boot. That thing sucks.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh man, it's horrible. It makes you tired just walking around with it. So I said, I have to go to the bathroom. She's like, all right. So she waits for me outside, right outside the door. I go in, I'm in the stall, and then it happens again. This voice comes right through. The voice comes through, and I just hear this, "Everything is going to be okay, my son." And I'm in the stall, and I'm like, who the hell is watching me? I stand up, and I look, and there's nobody in the bathroom.
God.
So I go out, I get out of the bathroom, I finish up, I go out of the bathroom. I said, "Who just walked in the bathroom?" She said, "No one." I said,
Oh,
"Did anybody walk out?" She said, "No." I said, she says, "Is there anybody in there?" I said, "No, it's just me."
dude.
So I was like, why am I hearing this stuff, you know? So it just progressed. It just
Yeah.
I was seeing more and more and more. I had a friend come over. He wanted me to go over his house because he said he moved into an apartment. He said, "Man, I think I got something scary going on in my home here." I said, "What's going
Mhm.
on?" And he says, "Well, this one room we have, one of the kids stays in. It's really cold in there all the time." He goes, "It just doesn't feel right." He says, "And I know you kind of pick up on these things." I said,
Mhm.
"Yeah, I'll check it out for you." And I went in there, and I was like, I could just feel it on me, and I could just it was something really bad, and I walked right back out, and I said, "You gotta move." And that was it. He
Oh,
moved right out. I said, "You gotta get out of here." I said, "This is something really horrible." I said, "This is a really
right, like
hor"
it's some dark something or
Yeah,
other.
yeah, and there
Yeah.
are those things. There's such things with this, but it's as long as you understand them, then it's okay. It's not that
Right,
big of a
for
deal.
sure.
But, so yeah, it came all the way up to, like, I got divorced, met my wife that I have now, and then we were here in this home, and then, yeah, I'm still seeing things, and I've told her some stories, but nothing really, like, I just told her the regular stories, and she's like, "Oh," and she goes, "I've seen things before," and I said, "Yeah, everybody pretty much does,"
Mhm.
and, they just don't talk about it because people think you're crazy, but,
For sure.
so, yeah, for sure, and then also she went away for 2 weeks, on vacation to see her daughter over in San Francisco, and, then I saw for the next 2 weeks everything imaginable that you would call scary.
Mm.
I was seeing green and red mist that was pouring out of the walls, like if it was coming off a witch's cauldron, just
Right.
pouring out of the walls and onto the floor. These little creatures were walking around the bed. I saw skulls pouring out of the wall,
Oh,
just floating out, just tumbling
dude.
around. They had red eyes and fangs. I saw like these 7-foot skeletons walking around the house. I saw what the fabled one, not a fable. I know who he is. I talk to him on a regular basis. I still see him. He's called the Hat Man. I was down here. I came down here in the basement where I'm at
Mhm.
now to get my cat, and there was a couch down here, and he's sitting on it. I said, "Come on, buddy." He looks at me, and then he looks to his right, and then I look to my left, and when I did, this wall of blackness just appears in the middle of the room, and this man steps out of it, and then he walks across the room. He's got a long black coat on, this wide black hat. I couldn't see his eyes, but I could see his
Mhm.
facial features, his chin, his nose, and everything.
Sure.
But what was strange is when he walked across the room, perfect stride, no feet. And I was like, and I was just observing, because I've seen so much of it in my entire
For
life.
sure,
I
yeah.
just did one of these things. I went, "The hell is that?" You know, like, what's going on here?
It's kinda like
He
a
he
roommate.
Yeah, he goes through the wall, and, because to them, there is no wall. He just goes through it, and then all of a sudden, I look at that wall of blackness just went closed up and gone, and then my cat turned around to me like, "What the hell was that?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's get out of here," and we go upstairs. But then, yeah, I was just seeing everything you could imagine that was scary. I was seeing this cloud come out of the, corner of the room in the bedroom.
Mhm.
And the cloud would come out gray, and then red, yellow, green, blue, gray with black stripes, red with black stripes, green with black stripes, blue with black stripes, red with black stripes. It was crazy. I saw this one time I was laying in bed, and I saw this cloud form above the bed, and then a window of blackness opened up, and then I see a skeleton arm come out, and another one comes out, and but the arms had no hands on them, which was cool. Because
Oh.
when you see these types of things, you'll remember this shit. It's like
Well, oh, for
like
sure.
trauma, you know, you remember that shit. Nobody remembers good stuff, they remember trauma shit. So,
Right?
I see the arms come out, and then it pulls the body out like this, and
No.
it starts doing this, looking around, and it looks at me, and I'm looking at it like, "The hell," you know, "what is going on?" And I said, "What are you doing?" And it looks at me and just kinda scopes out the room, and then it just kind of floats above me and then goes to the back wall behind me and then just disappears.
Good.
So eventually, after that 2 weeks, my wife came back from vacation. She told me about her adventures, and then I told her about my adventures. Um, Craziness. And so, but like I said, I'm diabetic, so she thought
Mhm.
maybe there was something wrong with my medication. She's a nurse. She's a registered nurse.
Okay. Well, that's good.
She's retired. Yeah, she takes care of me, and she's good looking and she cooks real well. But yeah, so she she thinks, oh, maybe he's going crazy, something with his medicine. But then about 3 days later, after her being home, she starts seeing some of the same stuff. It's coming around. I
Oh,
mean, there was one time I was laying in bed and I always check to see what time it is, even though I have a freaking alarm clock
right.
to go to work because I'm a dipshit like that. I rolled over to see what time it is, and there's a girl kneeling next to my bed. And she
Oh.
had blonde hair, blue eyes, and she had a blue and white dress on. And I was like, what the?
No.
She just looked at me and then just disappeared. That's what they do, you know?
Right.
So, so after I tell her all this stuff and then she starts seeing it, I said, you know, I got to figure this out because I'm seeing some really crazy stuff here.
Mhm.
Something's going on here. So I was going to see. I looked because being Catholic, I looked into getting a priest to come here to do like an exorcism. Couldn't
Oh,
find
yeah,
one.
yeah.
They don't want to do it. They don't want to do that. They don't want nothing to do with that shit. Do you know why? Because I'll tell you the real truth. Because it's fake. That's why.
Oh, it's
But
fake.
it is fake. No one gets possessed. You just don't. So that's all TV and movies.
Oh,
And
yeah.
TV and movies have ruined everything for people like me.
Especially
So,
after the Exorcist movie.
oh
That
yeah,
definitely made
yeah.
everybody think
Oh, that scared the
everyone
shit
was
out of me,
possessed.
man. When I was a kid, I was like, "Holy shit," you know. But and when I was seeing this type of stuff, I was equating it. I was equating it to that, you know. I was like, "Oh my god, this is crazy stuff." So I did reach out to a paranormal group, okay, and
Mhm.
they came to the house. The bad part was when they showed up in their little van, they had their insignia on the side. All I could think was, I don't want to be this kind of famous, you know. People are
Right.
going to think, you know, around the neighborhood, they're going to think, you know, Blair Witch Project is next to their home. Unknowingly to them, it still is. So,
Oh, dun, dun,
yeah,
dun.
every single day. I tell people all the time, "Do you want your house to be haunted? Invite me in, and it will be in 10 minutes because I'll
No,
explain.
no.
I will explain all that why it happens." So they come to the house. They set up all their gear, these little boxes with little wires and lights on them.
Mhm.
They put them around, and I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Oh, it's electrical charge, you know, like static electricity." He puts his hand on the couch, and then he waves his hand over it, and they all go blue, 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 and lit up. And I was like, "That's pretty neat." He said, "Yeah, that's what spirits. That's what
Mhm.
energy comes off of them." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And they had a digital camera, so they're taking pictures. This girl's taking pictures walking around the house, and I'm not really sure what she's taking pictures of, but it turns out she was taking pictures of everybody in the group, and then me standing next to them. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then they had a guy with a video camera and one other guy who was observing, and then the regular guy who was the
Mhm.
leader. He was asking all the questions. So they're setting all this stuff up, and then said, "Okay, so where do you get a lot of the activity?" I said, "Well, I'm getting a lot of it in the bedroom. I mean, it's like crazy in here." And they said, "Oh, okay, let's go in there." So I go through the doorway, and when I do, all those little boxes, every single one of them go blue and light up.
Oh.
And I look back through the doorway at those people, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And they're looking
No.
at me like they're all standing there like this, and I'm like, so then they walk through the door, nothing. And then they come in, we talk, and they said,
Mhm.
one guy says, "I feel like I'm drawn to the closet." I said, "Oh, yeah, there's some shit that happens in the closet. It happens all over this house." We go in the closet. Then he starts feeling sick. He's like, "I got to get out of here." I said, "Because it's a big walk-in closet." I said, "Yeah, okay, let's get out." We leave the bedroom. I go out of the bedroom door. They all light up again.
Oh.
I turn back around at them. They look at me. I'm like, "What gives?" You know?
Oh.
They don't know. And they're freaked out.
Yeah, I would be.
They are totally freaked out. And me, I'm like, I'm just thinking the whole time, me and my wife, where she's there, I'm like, these are the professionals. They're going to give me some answers. This is going to be a good thing. So since I'm so used to seeing everything, but when all this stuff is happening, I'm like, okay, there's something here.
Yeah.
This is proof. So they're going to tell me what's happening. So they want to go down in the basement because I have some stuff goes down there. And I mean, after that Hat Man thing, when I told my wife, we both kind of felt uneasy before that about going in the basement, but now this thing, you know. So we go down in the basement, and then we're standing there talking. She's girls taking pictures, and I'm standing in front of this mirror that's on the floor over there by this wall.
Right.
And I walk away, and the guy goes, hey, come back here a second. I said, what's up? He goes, can you stand here in front of the mirror again? I said, sure. Why? He goes, just humor me. I said, okay. Stand there. He's like, turn your head around a little bit. Look at the mirror. I said, okay. I look at the mirror. Damn mirror is vibrating. I mean, it's going,
right, yeah.
moving. And I'm like, what's up with that? He said, I don't know. Walk away for a second. I said, all right. I walk away. It stops. He says, come back. I come back over. I'm like, all right. So we leave. We go into the next back room, and it's a storeroom. And they said, we want to do some experiments in here. I said, okay. He said, turn out the lights, because if you turn out the lights in that room, it's pitch black. You can't see nothing. And they wanted to do this at nighttime as well, so no light would be coming through.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, no problem. So, you know, we go back there, and then they go, okay, everybody's still, everybody turn off their equipment. Okay. And then they said, is there anybody here in the house? And then you hear this.
The knocks.
And I'm like, did anybody trip on something? Because I can't see anybody in front of me. And they're like, no. And they said, let's check it again. Is there anyone here in the house? But you hear this coming from the ceiling of the house.
Yeah.
Above us, you hear. And I'm like, what the?
No.
And then right after that, on the floor, now on the floor, it's a carpeted floor. On the floor, it looks like a light bulb just boop, turns on, boop, turns off. And there's no lights on the floor, like an old Christmas light, just turns up, white light turns off. And I was like, what was that? And everybody's like, whoa, where did that come? Do you have any lights here, Mr. J? I said, no, there's no lights on the floor. You'd be stepping on the damn light. My wife turns the light back on. There's nothing there. And none of the equipment was on because they were like, nobody has anything on. No.
Wow.
I said, what was that? I don't know. So we get done. We leave. We go upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
They want to do this one last test. Now, as they're doing that, setting up, the girl with the pictures, she says to another guy, hey, man, you got to see this. Check this out. And I said, hey, what do you got over there? She said, well, we're not supposed to tell you until the big reveal, but you, Mr. Jackson, you have to see this. I said, okay. She said, here's a picture of this guy in the team and this guy in the team. Now, here's a picture of you with that person. And she turns it on. And I was like, what the? There's like 15, 20 light orbs completely surrounding me.
Really?
I mean, they're just around me. They're all over me, all over. And I was like,
yeah.
I said, what is that? She said, that's people. No. I said, yeah. I said, what's those little, there's little, like, looks like little sparkles, like little, and she said, that's other people. I was like, that's a lot. She said, yeah.
Well,
and I was like, okay. She says, but look, she goes through like 25 pictures, and it's like one picture of the guy and one picture of me and the guy. And every time it's me and the guy, there's light orbs completely surrounding. Or if it's just a picture of me, light orbs all around me. Yeah. Everybody else, I mean, there's people in the background, like like one of the guys in the background. There's nothing around him, but they're all surrounding me.
Interesting.
So I was like, all right. So then they want to do this test, and they have this machine called an Ovilus. And the Ovilus, when energy comes into the Ovilus, when they turn it on, it spits out words. Okay. Mm-hmm. And this computer voice. Okay. So it's kind of freaky. So when they said, we're going to go in the bedroom. I want you to go in the bedroom and pretend like you're sleeping. And then we'll come in and we'll turn this on and we'll see what happens. And I was like, oh, sure. I'm thinking, yeah, whatever. Yeah. I go in because, you know.
You never know. They might be messing with you just to get a quick $200 or something.
Well, yeah. Well, they did this all for free, which was cool.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but we did give some gas money, you know. I mean,
just for sure. Yeah.
I mean, so I go in, I lay down, because that's as soon as I lay down, man, shit starts happening. And they come in, and I hear them come in, they here's click, and then they turned it on, they put it on there, and all of a sudden this fucking thing lights up. It says words like energy, and in that computer voice, energy, light, special, unique. And I was like, what? One time it said the word road, like a street. It said road. And when it did that, a freaking car went past my house. And I was like, what the hell?
How is that possible?
How is that possible? So then they start asking a bunch of questions. Those questions went on for 10 minutes. And every time they asked a question, it answered back. But the thing that was strange was they answered one time a question that was real crazy. And they said, are you here to harm Daniel? And then it came right back and said, we are not here to harm Daniel. We love Daniel. We love his energy. Daniel is the light. And when it said Daniel is the light, I picked up on that and I was like, what the hell does that mean? Daniel is the light. And they're, they're talking and they're asking all these questions. It's coming back and forth. So they get done. Lasts like 10 minutes. They walk out of the room. I get up. I walk out of the room. My wife's there. I talk to her and I see them. They're all huddled up. And then they come out of the huddle and I said, so what'd you think of that? I mean, that was pretty cool, right? And they're all looking at me like, well, Mr. Jackson, we have a problem. And I said,
what?
What's the problem? He said, well, whenever we use that machine, we can only get it to spit out 1 or 2 words. And I was like, okay. And I said, it never says sentences.
Oh, wait. No. Wait. Oh, wow.
And I said, what do you mean it never says sentences? And they said, it was saying full sentences. We were having an intelligent conversation in there with whatever was in there. Yeah. Oh, it said names like Helen, Paul, Wendy, Michael. It was saying all this stuff. But then when it started in with the sentences, they were like, and I was like, okay, so that means something good, right? I mean, if you're talking to it and it's talking back, right, this is what you're looking for, correct? And they said, well, yeah, in a sense. But I said, but they said, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We have enough information. We're going to leave. We will come back in about 2 weeks. We'll do a big reveal with you, and we'll let you know what's going on here. I was like, okay. And they said, don't worry. I mean, the guy gave me he said, just act normally. He gave me a spray bottle with the water in it. And I was like, what's that for? He goes, oh, it's holy water. And me being Catholic going, oh, okay.
Yeah, sure. I'll run with it.
It says, if you have anything happen, just spray that. It'll make it go away. And I was like, okay. Not the truth. So,
right.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that's not the truth. I'll talk about that. So 2 weeks goes by, 3 weeks goes by, 4 weeks goes by, nothing. I call them up. Takes about a month and a half to get a hold of them. I said, hey, so when we doing the big reveal? When you coming back? He said, well, there's a problem. I said, what's the problem? He said, can't get the team together to come back to go to your house. I said, why not? He said, because they're too scared. After we had that meeting at your house, they all quit.
No way.
And I said, so what is that supposed to mean? He said, well, we don't get that kind of information from just one house. It takes like 10 or 15 houses to get all that kind of information. We got so much information that it scared the crap out of everybody. And they don't want to, they quit the team. They don't want to come back to your house. I said, well, can I at least get you to come back? He goes, no, I don't feel comfortable coming back to your house. And I was like, aren't you guys supposed to be the experts in this? I mean, this is what you do. Yeah. I mean, and he's like, well, I said, maybe you ought to find a different type of work because you're not helping me. So he said, yeah. He says, I don't think we're going to be doing this anymore. I said, yeah, that's great, buddy. Thanks, pal. So never heard from him again. So I reached out to a bunch of mediums. I found a few of them. I ended up talking to 5 of them. Every one of them, none of them knew each other. And every one of them told me the same story about me. One of them in particular, where I got a hold of her and she was having a show somewhere. So I went to her show, but I didn't tell her I was coming to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And and then there was like 50 people there. And usually like in that type of, I mean, even when these Caputo, whatever her name is, you know,
Hmm.
she does a big giant show in an arena. Only like 8 or 10 people are going to get read. Everyone else just paid a ticket to see the
Yeah,
magic show.
exactly.
So it's bull crap, and she knows it. So because she's in it for the money, she doesn't. But so I'm there, and the lady starts off. She says, "Well, look, I have some spirit in here, but I have this one spirit that keeps trying to come into the front of the room, like the front of the line, and I have to keep telling him." He's like really adamant. So she says something to this other spirit, and then she starts talking. She says, "Does this resonate with anybody?" And this lady stands up, "Yeah, that's," and so it ends up being her aunt, right? So she's
Hmm.
talking back. But this lady, she's like, she thinks every spirit that comes through has to do with her, right? She's just one of
Yeah.
those fucking people, right?
So
So
selfish.
yeah, so she starts talking about this other spirit that came through. He wears like white t-shirts once in a while, the thin white t-shirts, and then sometimes he wears flannel shirts, and then sometimes he wears a business suit. And and the lady's like, "Oh, I think that's my uncle." And she said, "Well, he fell down and that's how he died." And she said, "No, not my uncle." And then she said he fell down for and he died. He had blunt force trauma, and then someone had to pull the cord on him. And I was
Hmm.
like, "That's my dad."
Oh.
And she said, "I'm getting the name Robert." I said, "That's my dad, Robert
Mm.
Jackson." And she says, "Okay, well, he's showing me something now." He says, I'm seeing a school bus because they put up pictures. I'm seeing a school bus. I'm seeing someone wearing like doctor scrubs, and then they're
Hmm.
putting like a stethoscope around their neck. And then I'm
Right.
seeing what looks like a prison and prison bars." And I said, "Yeah, that's me. I went to school to do medical records, and now I work in a prison." And I'm like, I'm just thinking, yeah, you can't make this crap up. And then she says, "Well, he passed away because of that blunt force trauma." I said, "Yeah, he fell down and
Yeah.
it moved his brain stem, and he was in a hospital." And she said, "Who is Sarah?" I said, "Sarah?" She said, "Yeah, Sarah." I said, "I have a niece," said Sarah. She said, "No, Sarah, the one who had to make the big decision." And I said, "Oh, pulling the plug?" She said, "Yes." I said, "It's my mom. Her middle name is Sarah."
Oh.
But I would know that, but no one else in the friggin' room would know that, you know?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know any of these people. So, yeah, so then at the end of the show, I go down and I talk to her and I said, "Hey, how are you?" She says, "Good, good. I'm glad you came." And she says, "You know, when you first walk in the room, I don't know who you are, but when you first walked in the room, all I could feel was just a super energy." She says, "You got something going on, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, my
Hmm.
name's Daniel. I called you on the phone a couple weeks ago." She's like, "Oh, Daniel, we need to talk." And I said, "Okay." Everybody leaves, and she says, "When you walked in the room, when I see spirit, I close my eyes and I see spirit, and I can see their energy. It's they look
Hmm.
like people, but it's a little bit brighter." She said, "When I closed my eyes, when you came in, all I could see is light. That's it." And I was like, "Hmm." And then she says, I said, "So what's the deal with all what I'm seeing?" She says, "Well, you have an ability to see them." I said, "Yeah, I see them.
Hmm.
Man, I see them like crazy." She said, "Yeah, but you see so many because they're coming to you." And I was like, "What do you mean
What?
by that?" She said, "It's they look at you, it's like a moth in a flame. They see you, they come over to you." I said, "Why are they coming to me?" She said, "Because they believe that you're the light into heaven.
Oh, dude.
Your energy is that bright. You're like a beacon of light, and they're coming to you." She
That.
said, they don't even see you." I said, "What do they see?" She said, "You to them, you look like a light bulb. You look like just light." So when spirit sees people, they see your
Mhm.
body frame, but they see your light inside of you, your soul inside of you, and they see that for everyone. She said, "Not for you. All they see is light." So when they see that, they figure you're the light into heaven. And I was like, "Well, what do I do with that?" She said, "Well, it's up to you. You can either choose to do this and accept your gift or push it away." I said, "Well, how do I do that?" She says, "You have to have a sit down. You have to talk with God, higher
Mhm.
power, whatever you want, and either accept this or not. But it is your choice." And I was like, "Okay, all right." So she was really nice about it. But
Sure.
my wife and I leave. We talk about it on the way home. I'm like stunned. She's stunned. And we get home, and I said, "All right." I said, "Well, you know what? I think I'm just going to do this because I mean, because the lady told me, she says, I know you don't want this to go away, correct? I said, yeah, it's part of my life. It's just,
Yeah.
and if I can do something with it, I'm going to do something with it. If I can help regular people, or if I can help these spirits that I keep seeing all the time.
Mhm.
She's like, yep. She's like, well, then you got a big choice to make. I was like, yeah, no shit. Because it's like in Neo, you take the red pill and the blue pill, and the red pill is, you take that pill and you just walk around blindly like the rest of everybody else in the world, thinking this is just, cool ghost stuff or whatever, and the world is okay. Or you take that blue pill and you go, you know what, the world is not what it really seems. They want you to think it is, and now you're going to live a different life, and knowing that, and then you can maybe help work on that. And I was like, yeah, okay. So we get home, we talk about it. I said, I'm going in. So I go in the bedroom, and we keep the bedroom dark. That's why I see so much stuff in there, because she's a nurse. She'd have to sleep during the day, so we keep it blacked out, and we see all this. I see all this crap, and crap, man, it's crazy stuff. So I go in there. I said, okay, I have a talk with God, because I don't need to go to a big white building with 50 other people and talk to God. I can do it at home if I want to, because you can. All that other stuff is hogwash,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And so I go in, I sit down, I talk to him, have a little discussion, say, hey, if I could do something with this, I want to do something with this. So I'm saying, yes, I accept this, and I want to move forward with it. I go out of the bedroom, talk to my wife about it. Next day, everything changes.
Like
all that scary stuff starts to go away. It took a little while, but it goes away. Then I'm seeing everything else. Now I'm starting to see faces and people. I woke up in the middle of the night one time, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I saw like 20 people standing in my room. So what do you do? Pull out a gun, but they're all dead, but they're all kind of transparent looking, but they look more like us. Okay. So I can see skin tone, color and stuff, and they stay that, but that's a little bit more transparent.
Right.
And I have found out those are the ones who have crossed over what we call heaven. Okay. The ones who don't cross over, I see them all the time as well. I see more of them now because of what I'm actually supposed to do. And those ones that are the color, it's like if you see someone with a black and white tattoo, okay, and the black takes up their skin, but the white takes up the picture, but the white of their skin or the color of their skin takes up the rest of the picture. It's the background. They're blue, and the background takes up the rest of them. But I can still see, their race, their creed, their color, all that stuff.
Right.
And as soon as I see one, I get a real quick flash, and it gets imprinted in my mind, and I can see what color hair they have, color eyes they have,
that is
everything.
So cool.
So, so I see them all the time. They're blue, okay, and so I was starting to see them as well, but I'm not seeing just people. Okay, I see everything. I see dogs, cats, horses, cows, fishes, giraffes, everything, alligators, possum, raccoons walking from my house, all kinds of crazy. A horse. We came in the home from one time, and I came into the kitchen. There's a spirit of a horse standing right in front of me. I was like, holy shit, right in the whole kitchen. I was like, what are you doing here? And then they talk to me. So, and everything they talk to me, whenever it comes into my mind, it's English. I hear them all the time.
Cool.
I saw two spirits come in. I was laying in bed, and I saw them walk in. They just kind of float in, and they look at me. And when they look at me, like I said, they only see a light. And I said, so I don't say nothing because I want to see what they have to say first.
Sure.
And they come in, and this one guy looks at the other guy and says, "Hey, man, I think I'm going to go in." And the other guy says, "I can't." And he says, "Why not?" And he says, "Because I murdered 2 people." And when he said that, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Oh, okay.
And then the guy says, "Well, I'm going. See you later." He goes in. Big flash of light goes off in my room. He stands there, and I said, "Hey, buddy." And he looks. He does one of these. What? And I said,
"See me?"
I said, "Yeah, there's a voice coming from this light." I said, "My name is Daniel, and I'm here to help you. Do you want to cross over?" Because that's what I found out. That's what part of my gift is, the main part.
Right.
And he's like, "I can't go." I said, "Why not?" I said, "I killed somebody." I said, "Yeah, but you did what you were supposed to do. You made the choice to do that. You did that. it's okay to go. You don't have to ask for forgiveness. No one does, because all that stuff that they told you from religion and all that was a lie. You don't have to ask for. And if you want to go to heaven, all you have to do is want to go. It's your choice. And he's like, I just don't feel right about it. I said, all right, I can't make you do it, but if you don't want to do it, it's up to you.
Right.
And but the way what's going on here is when I'm talking to him, he's talking to me. I just hear it in my mind. It's like it's mental telepathy type thing, because that's how they talk.
I
Because
was about to say, I don't
where
think they
they
have
are.
Google Translate to.
yeah, there's
You
no
know?
body. There's no voice box there to use anymore. That's how they talk. I mean, his mouth isn't moving, but it's coming through,
Right.
because that's how we all talk before we came here. Because you're not here. This isn't home. That's home. You come from
Right.
there. You come here learning stuff and fulfilling a purpose. So yeah, so this just gradually changes all the time,
Oh wow.
and it just keeps getting more and more and more and more. And not just as a gradual point of this.
Sure.
All the stuff that I'm talking about, and all the stuff that I know now, and all this stuff. This all went on in the past 5 years. It was when I turned 50. I'm getting ready to turn 55. So this is all just coming on like
Yeah.
crazy.
This isn't
so,
something within years before that. It's like, well, I may
Yeah.
have forgotten this, and
Yeah. I see things once in a while, but not so. Just once in a while, or like if I'm driving down the street, I get a chill up my spine. I'll turn around, and look, and there it is. There's a graveyard. I'm like, oh shit, But but that type of thing.
Hotspot.
But yeah, the hot spot. But not so much. I tell people all the time, all that is a rock garden. That's all it is. It's a garden with a bunch of rocks with a bunch of names on it. Don't let that rock be
Yeah.
the marker. You be the marker. Let people remember you for who you are, and not that little dash
Exactly.
on a rock. Because all you do there is you go for the ceremonial of the digging of the hole and dropping in the box. Because
Mhm.
when that person dies, they're not in there. They're not there. They don't hang out. Do you hang out in graveyards all day? Neither do they.
No.
Yeah, they're out. They're actually around us. Heaven is not 3,000 miles in the sky. Heaven is right next to us. You just can't see it, because if you could see it, it's like a glass wall. You'd be banging on that glass wall trying to get the attention of who's on the other side.
Right.
What would you not be doing? You would not be living your life that you're supposed to be living.
Exactly.
So that's why you can't see it. I get to see it. I've seen heaven. I know what it looks like. And it's a pretty cool. You can't even imagine what it's like, because they walk up to each other. They don't hug each other. They walk up, look at each other, smile, and then they bow to each other. And then they start talking, and it's just,
Oh, the little
it's cool as
telepathy
shit. They
thing.
wear
Yeah.
crazy clothes there. I've seen them. They wear clothes there. I've seen them. They wear like these Elizabethan type clothes and everything. It's
Mhm.
pretty cool. Now, the ones who don't cross over, I mean, it's not hell. There's no such place as hell. I cross spirit every single day of my life. And I do it physically. I have to
Mhm.
tell them where to go. And that's all part of why I'm this. Okay. So I
Yes.
see them. I tell them where to go, tell them what to do, how to get there. They go. I mean, one time I was sitting in a room with my sister, in a real low lit room, and we're talking kind of like this. And all of a sudden, poof, big flash of light goes off next to me. And she's like, what the hell was that? It's like lightning went off in the room. I said, oh, that's just somebody jumping in. She said, jumping in? Oh, you mean crossing over? And I said, yeah.
What?
And she's like, does that happen all the time? I said, yeah, I'm used to it. And she's like, how do you get used to that? I said, like when you're a kid, your mom sticks green beans in front of your face. And then next thing you know, by the time you're 30, you love green beans. Well,
Yes.
I see, you get used to it. I get used to it. I see it all the time. It doesn't faze me anymore. When I see a spirit or come into the room, it doesn't faze me. I just go, all right, back to typing, because
It's like, hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Hi, Daniel.
I've had them come in. I was meditating one time in my dark room, and I had this one run up to me. They say the weirdest things. He ran right up to me and said, "Hey, are you Irish?" And I was like, "What?" Now, that's weird part is using your third eye. There is no front and back. I
Mhm.
had my head facing this way, and he came up to me like this, and then he ran past me, and I could see him run behind me, even though my head was still facing that way.
Yeah.
And I turned around in it and said, "Yeah, I'm Irish." He said, "All right, thanks, see ya," and kept on going. I had a voice come through one time. I asked in the very beginning. I would ask. I'd say, "Is there anybody here that has anything they want to say?" And a voice came through and said, "Yeah, got no time. Going to a party."
Oh,
What?
wow.
What do you mean, got no time? But I did have a woman come through one time, and she said, "Hello." I said, "Hi." She said, "What's going on?" And I said, "What do you mean, what's going on?" She said, And I just hear it in my head,
Mhm.
like somebody's standing next to me, but they're not there, but you hear it. And I said, what's going on? She said, they're all standing around me. I'm on the beach. I'm eating my breakfast. They're all looking down at me. What's going on? I said, and then I got the picture and I saw it in my mind. I said, you passed away.
Oh.
And then she said one more word after that. Bathroom. For the next 2 years, every time I went into the bathroom to take a shower, I could see her eyes in front of me. She's watching me. Her name was Jane.
Oh, that's.
She told me, but she's just, so whenever you wake up in your day, you wake up in the morning, shower
Right.
and shave, you do your daily routine, you get ready for work, you go to work, you hang out, you do your job. Some people do, some people don't. Why? Because you're
Mhm.
lazy assholes. And
Right.
then you come back home and you eat dinner and you watch some TV and you go to bed and you do it all over again. Spirit is
Mhm.
around you 24/7. They are watching everything you do. You remember that song back in the 80s? I always feel like somebody's watching me. Well, they are.
Oh.
But they don't care what you do because they don't have to do it anymore. They don't
Mhm.
sleep, they don't eat, they don't breathe. I mean, there's this big misconception in this spirit realm stuff. Like, you go to these festivals and stuff, and I enjoy the festivals. I love being there and doing
Mhm.
readings for people. But there's a lot of stuff for sale there that is complete and total bullcrap.
Oh.
Like smudging. They say, oh, you wrap up these plants and then you burn them, and then you can make the negative demons go away and go away with
Oh,
your
yes.
demons. That
People have
doesn't work.
watched too much Harry Potter. They've seen way
Yes.
too much of that. Like, if you grind tea leaves, it'll.
Yeah. Know what you do? You know what you get with that? Tea.
Yeah, and I love tea. I love peppermint personally, but
Yeah, me too. It's awesome, right? Yeah, they do all that stuff. That doesn't work. The reason I tell you it doesn't work is because they're in a realm where they have no body anymore, which means they don't have lungs, which means they don't breathe and they don't smell. So
Mhm.
whatever you're burning, they can't smell it. It's not going to make them go away.
It might burn your house. It might make your
Yeah,
house
you're
smell, but
setting
it's
off.
not going to make the person
Yeah, you're
come
setting
into
off
the
your
room.
your fire alarm. That's the only thing that's going off. You know, it
Make
smells
sure
like
that beepers every 6 months. You know.
yeah, it smells like your wife's horrible cooking. That's what it smells like. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of
Well,
bull crap out there.
let me ask this, because I'm sure a lot of people, not just you personally, but maybe even for the viewers, what do you tell the people that do take it as, oh, come on, you probably had too much sugar last night, maybe some Taco Bell got in you, maybe you just you had a little too much wine, the whole skepticism thing of, what do you tell people that might try to brush it off as, oh, it was just the wind, or that sort of stuff?
Have a conversation with me and I start telling you about things about you, you're gonna go, okay.
It's like, did you stalk me on Facebook? Have you?
Yeah, no, yeah. I do a live reading on Facebook and people come in. The last time I did one, I had people coming in from Mexico because I always tell them if you're going to want to ask a question, anyone can ask them. You have to
Mhm.
like the page and then you have to share it to your page. I had people coming from Mexico, Australia, Ireland. They
Right.
just come in and ask questions and I answer them
Well, that's awesome. Now,
because
also too, with, kind of going even back to your childhood, did you know for a fact that like what you had seen with the bed and all that stuff, the Macaulay Culkin, Home Alone thing, seeing the spirits, did you
I see
kn-
dead people.
Yes, I was about to say, did they cast you for the movie? Did you
I'm-
find Bruce Willis and have him play you? Like,
Yeah, I'm Cole grown up. Yeah, but
nice.
a lot of that stuff is sensationalized as well.
Oh,
So,
for sure.
you know, like
Well,
I said,
it's
we
Hollywood
talked about
though,
the
so
demon possession and all that stuff. There's no such thing as demons. There's no such thing as devils. There is a Lucifer. He is not the devil. He's an angel with a bad rap. And angels do not look like men with wings. They just don't. I see them every day. I know what they look like, but I know what they are. I know who
Mhm.
they are. I know what they do and what they do for us. But if you saw them, you would be scared shitless because if you didn't realize what it was and you saw what it is, you'd go, "Holy shit, it's a monster!" But it's not their monster. It's just like where they come from. That's what they look like.
Yes, yeah,
all-
right.
Yeah. It's all bullshit.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it's probably the same thing, kind of even going back in history is, when the Europeans hit the Americas, the Indians probably thought, oh my gosh, demons. It's like, no, this is
Right.
just our skin. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, we're just super white. Yeah, yeah. Because
Right, exactly.
I'm so white, man. Casper the Ghost doesn't have shit on me, you know?
Oh, I'm the same way.
Spirit has more color than I do. Yeah.
Now, something too, now kind of fast forwarding to modern day nowadays is
Yeah.
when you do have a lot of these readings and stuff like that, have you ever had, in terms of the readings themselves, have you ever had stuff like, oh, okay, I was wrong. Well, no, I was sorry. I wasn't
No,
seeing, anything like that?
nothing. No.
100% correct.
I mean, I'm not 100% because the deal with that is when I get a message, I have to interpret it as well.
Sure.
So I'm pretty like 98%. I mean, it or if I tell them something, they don't pick up on it until like a couple weeks later, and I go, "Oh, now I know what he's talking about."
There you go.
Yeah,
Right,
so it comes
right.
in. But again, when I give them a message, the people that I'm talking to are my spirit guides. So everybody has spirit guides. You have them, I have them, everyone has them. Mine are
Mhm,
just a little bit different. Um, but the spirit guides that you have are people who have crossed over into heaven, who have fulfilled their purpose,
mhm.
and they like to come back because souls like to do good things.
Sure.
We all do. So, except when we're stuck in these things, we get ego and all that mess. We learned how to do it. You learned ego. You learned pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt. You learned it from everybody else. You
Mhm.
are actually born with the same gift that I have. It's just got pushed away because when you were taught the ways of the world, it went away because we hear about it all the time. You know, kids
Yeah.
seeing things and oh, they have imaginary friends and all that. No, they don't. They're seeing people. Or you hear
Mhm.
about people, oh, they're in a psych ward because they hear voices. They hear voices because they hear voices. That's why. That's
Yes.
all. You just have to discern which ones are the good ones and which ones are not. And they're in their earthbound realm. There are a lot of regular ones there as well, but there's more negative energies there. Negative energies here are just negative people. We know them. They
Mhm.
gossip and they're bullshitters or they just hate other people.
Sure.
And what happens to them is that when they see the light to cross over, they don't, and they remain here. And then for them to survive where they are, they have to get negative energy in order to
Mhm.
do that. So they hang around negative people, give them some negative energy, which turns and makes them
Yeah.
turn into a horrible person, and then they suck the life out of you basically, and they
Yeah.
stick with you, and they're energy vampires is what they are. But there are regular people there as well who just didn't cross over for one or another reason. A lot of them think, oh, I'm a bad person, or I am going to hell, I'm going to be judged, and all that stuff, which none of
Mhm.
that is true. God doesn't judge us. We judge ourselves 1,000 times a day. Why does he need to do it once more? Because he just doesn't. Okay, but so they get convinced into that while they're here, and
Mhm.
then they don't cross over, and then they just hang out around. There's nothing to do there. I see it. I see land, but I don't see any trees. There's no homes, nothing like that. It's just people walking around, interacting with each other. I tell you what they are doing there. They are making out. See them making out all the time. Because when you're a spirit, when you don't have all this mess, there's a lot more love there and stuff like that. But they still hold on to their pain, anger, sorrow, grief, and guilt while they're there.
Right.
But when you're there, just like in heaven, just like we're supposed to be doing here, you're allowed to love anybody that you want to. I was in the hospital one time and I saw this girl come in. Shoop comes up, and then she's looking at me, and then another one comes up, and then they start talking. They said, "Hey, how's it going? Hey, how are you going? What do you think?" And then they start making out, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool."
Mhm.
And then a guy comes in, and then the girls stop making out. One of the guys and the girl uh, start making out, and then
Ah,
another guy comes in. The two girls go back to making out. The two guys are starting to making out, and I'm watching this, and I'm thinking, "Holy shit, this is one big spirit orgy," and I'm not invited. Why am I not invited? Because I'm not spirit. That's why. Because they're
Right.
allowed to do that. But yeah, when you cross over, you can do that as well. And I'm not just talking about mere this is a big misconception too. I'm not talking about just making out. They're going downtown. I was like,
Oh.
"Holy shit, man, this is pretty cool. This is awesome." But I'm just watching. So I said to them, "Hey, maybe you guys ought to get a room." And then
A
they all
spirit
turn around
room of
like,
some sort.
"Yeah," they all turn around and go, and I go, "Yep, there's a voice coming from this light." I said, "Do you anybody wanna cross over?" And one guy said, "No." And I was like, "Really?" And he said, "No, yeah, no." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Well, I got friends here, and there's no rules here. We can do whatever we want." So what that means is if they wanna come through and antagonize the shit out of us, they're
Mhm.
allowed. They can, because
Okay.
they're in that negative world, that
Right,
negative realm.
right.
So Amityville Horror, those spirit were probably just horrible negative people who didn't like people living in
Mhm.
their house, so they did everything they could do to get them out.
Right.
That's all they did.
What
Did
would
they
you
kill
say?
them? No, 'cause they aren't nuns coming at you with a knife. They're not clowns coming out of
No.
storm. They're just people who were horrible people. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of people too, when you talk about with, you seeing the spirit world and stuff, is I think that's where a lot of people want to know about, like you had previously mentioned, is like, man, is my family okay? Is my mom okay? Is my
Yeah, but
dad okay?
then they wanna know the dumb shit.
Yes, of course.
When am I going to find my soulmate? They don't understand that because TV and movies has sensationalized that.
Of
Your
course.
soulmate is not absolutely someone you're gonna fall in love with. Your soulmate is a soul that you worked very well with when you were home. You both come here, you both happen to be here at the same time, you meet up with each other, and then you're together.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean it's a person. Sometimes it's a dog or a cat. Sometimes it's your mom or your best friend.
Right, right,
Because
exactly.
we can't see past the body because you
Mhm.
are a soul. You don't have a soul, you are a soul. What you have is this meat suit so that you can fulfill a physical purpose and to learn physical lessons. But everything in your life is a lesson. If you pick up a cup and you put it down, that's a lesson. If you pick it up and drop it, it's another lesson. It's not good or bad. There is no good or bad. There's no wrong or right. There's no epic failures. There's no mistakes. There's only two things in this world you're ever going to make decisions for: what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't work for you, quit doing it. If you
Yes.
walk through a door and there's a nail in the floor and you trip over the nail, you're either going to learn that lesson, go get a hammer, bang the nail back in, and walk through the door freely, or you're just going to continue to trip over it 4 or 5 times. Well, you know what? People continue to trip over nails all their lives because they
Mhm.
can't learn lessons very well. I worked in prison for 6 years. I worked around inmates. I was at medical records. Those guys have not figured out that they are horrible criminals
Yes.
because they don't learn lessons very well. That's all.
No, no, and I completely understand. It's, and when it excuse me, we're both coughing.
Hey, I gave it to you.
Oh no, the corona screen coming to the
Yeah,
screen.
put COVID right through the mic. There you go.
Right. Well, one last thing I'd like to ask, kind of before we wrap up and leave. What would you say is probably your biggest challenge being a spirit medium? What would you say is probably the hardest thing about seeing the spirits and, ghosts and that sort of thing that people might call it? What would you say is probably the hardest thing about being that spirit guide, being that spirit medium?
Getting people to understand why we're here, what our purpose is. That's the hardest part because everyone thinks that your purpose is becoming a lawyer, or becoming a doctor, becoming a
Right.
basketball player or a baseball player. Has absolutely nothing to do with what your purpose is. Nothing. That's a choice that you made. Okay, you made that just because you grew up and you were playing basketball. And next thing you know, you become a basketball player. That's not your purpose. That's not
Right.
what it is. Our purpose in life is the same as everyone out in the world is the same. Your purpose is you are here to help each other, but just for the sake of helping, you got to go out and help people just because you can, just because you should. And it's going to be a physical thing. People are going to come up to you and say, "Hey, Heath, I'm lost. Can you help me?"
Hmm.
And it's up to you to use your free will to decide whether or not you're going to do that. If you decide not to, because you say, I just hate people, forget people, whatever, what's going to happen? And if you do that your entire life, uh, you may help one or two people, but not enough. And what happens
Right.
is you get on the alternative path because there are two lives to live, the
Hmm.
alternative or the correct. And you get on the alternative path, and then you come back. We call it reincarnation, but you have to come back because you didn't
Hmm.
fulfill your purpose. And what you're doing is you have to fulfill your purpose enough where it's kind of like a dance card. You're punching in that dance card until they say, "Hey, you did it enough. Now you don't have to go back and you can stay."
Yeah.
So, or you just help people, and then on a regular basis, you're still probably going to have to come back a few times because as much
Sure.
as they want us to do it, there are a lot of you know distractions in this world and other things, pain, money, greed, all this other crap that
Right.
gets in the way
Exactly.
from us doing what we're supposed to do. But yeah, that's what you're here to do, and your purpose is very simple. It's God made it very simple for everyone because He wants us to get it right, and get it
Hmm.
right as quick as He can. But whenever people ask me when I do readings for them, they ask me how many times they've been here, I find out. I mean, I can find out when you're going to die if you really wanted to know. I
Uh,
know when I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be, it's gonna be, my birthday's in November. they've actually extended mine because they want me to be here a little bit longer to get things done. So, and they just told me that about 2 months ago. It's actually was extended. So I'm going to be here until I'm 83 years old. It was 78, but now it's 83.
Oh, good.
And it's my birthday's in November, but I'm going to pass away in the third week of August on a Wednesday. And I'm going to go to sleep and not wake up again. So, but I will wake up because everyone does. You wake up out of your body, you start, look down and go, oh, I don't need that anymore. You take a step to the left, you look to the right, you see a light, but it's your choice to either walk in or don't. And if you don't walk in, you get stuck here with all the gazillions of miserable souls that are walking around, or you cross over. And when you cross over, you don't just run into the 200 or 300 people you met here in your lifetime. When you get there, you know everybody, and everybody is gazillions.
Right.
And you know them from not just this life, but you know them from all your previous lives. And they will call you Heath, but they will call you all the other names. So they will call you Heath, but they will also call you all the other 26 names that you've had.
Did you
because you're on number 27. You've been here 26 other times.
Wait a minute. Hold the phone. Did you just do the thing?
I just asked, and they just put it in my mind, and then I said 26, and they said, or 27, and touched me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
When I get touched, here's who I get touched by. I'm going to say some names, and you're going to know you're familiar with these names. And then when I say the names, you're going to go, oh, that's who your guides are? Holy shit. Yeah. So I have a Raphael. I have another one. His name is Manos. He touches me right here. Manos in Greek means God is with us. So I have another Raphael that touches me down the side of my ear. I feel it just go down my ear that way. Okay. I have a Uriel that touches me up here. I have Michael touches me right here. I have Gabriel that touches me right here. I just feel it, just like that. Yeah. I have another one that says Ezekiel touches me right here. Paul touches me up here. Another one named Helen touches me here. I have another one touches me right down the middle of my forehead. Jesus. I have another one that touches me over here, right down like that. Lucifer. I have another one that touches me across my forehead, up to that like that. His name is Jacob. I have another one that touches me right here that pinches my eyebrow. His name is Daniel. I have another one over here that touches me. His name is Nikolai, like that. And I have another one that touches me on this eyelid. His name is John the Baptist. Yeah, and then I have one that touches me on my eyelid. He's only touched me 5 times in the 5 years I've been this. Wow. And he's the big G-O-D. But the one that touches me, or Jesus, I call him Big J. He's okay with it because I see him every day.
Right, sure.
So when I see and all these, my spirit guides are archangels, and I see them every day, and they're not men with wings. So Uriel, Ezekiel, Gabriel, and Raphael, they look like praying mantis.
Interesting.
I see them at night. They're around me. Completely surround me. And in the very beginning, I just saw these glowing lights, and now they're appearing more and more and more. And now I'm actually seeing them in front of me. And very soon they'll be talking to me in front of me, and it'll just be a regular conversation. As of right now, because of all this change, I see them work on me at nighttime. Have you ever seen the movie Avatar, where the guy gets hurt and he's in that box, and the little machines come down and going, and they're fixing him? I see that at nighttime. They're touching me, and I feel little cold touches all over me, and they're working on my soul so that I can communicate with them better and get better messages, clearer messages, and see everything and know things. And so I go to sleep at night, and I wake up and I know new things. I know so many things about the Bible. I've never read a Bible. All the stuff that I talk about, I've never read it in a book. They tell me everything. Okay, and so I'm talking to archangels every day. I don't take that for granted. I know who they are. I know what they do for us. Archangel Michael looks like a moose. He's got a wider head. He's got eyes in front though, but it looks like a moose. He's got that big moose body, and he's got big floppy ears. But these eyes are right here, and they kind of look like wolf eyes, and they're like a reddish cool. Right. Michael does not have beautiful blue eyes like everybody says he does. He looks like a praying mantis. That's what he looks like.
Oh.
So, well, I mean, or Michael looks like the moose, but these other ones, yeah,
Right.
Michael's the moose. He's got dark eyes, but yeah, Uriel, Ezekiel, all these other, they look like a praying mantis, the big bug eyes. I see them above me, and their eyes go, they shut and look at me, and I see their little tentacle arms and all that stuff and everything. That's what they look like. But some of them, some of the other ones I see, I have a Helen that touches me. It feels like someone's rubbing my head when she's touching me.
Oh,
For
that's
these
gotta
answers.
feel good.
Oh yeah, I've always felt it, never knew why. I've always seen them around me, but never knew. I saw this
Yeah.
stuff come off of me like in the daytime. If you see somebody smoking a cigarette and the petals, smoke comes off, it looked like little
Uh-huh.
petals and stuff like that. I've seen that around my entire life, but I never knew why. I thought it was just steam coming off of my body in the summertime. It's not. It's
Mhm.
them. They're around me all the time. I ride down the road on my motorcycle and I see them all around me. When I'm sitting here just talking to you, that's what I see right here
Oh,
all the
that's
time. It's in my
cool.
vision. My regular vision is no longer the same anymore. When you look at your wall, what's the color of your wall in the back behind you?
Well, behind me's white. I mean, the
Yeah,
whole
to you it's white. I see a blue and white wall. Everything in my regular vision, like everything I'm looking at right now, has a misty blue in it. I see
Oh,
energy all day long. When I go outside at nighttime, these are the things that people do. People want the cool part of my gift, Heath, but they don't want the other stuff.
no,
When I
for sure.
when I go out at nighttime and I look at the sky, I haven't seen the stars in 3 years. They're gone. I see the moon and I see a blue black sky, and I see people and other things walking around everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, when I look at everything, everything
Yeah.
has a
Right,
blueness
right.
in it. Yeah. I see energy. I see spirit everywhere all day long. It never goes away. It never turns off.
That
So
is
why do
incredible.
spirit come to me? Why do I have archangels with me? Remember how I told you spirit thinks I'm the light into heaven? Well, the light that shines to show spirit where to go into heaven has to be in a physical body. It's in me.
That is I mean,
And
that honestly, that is incredible.
the reason it's in me is because one, it has to be in a physical body to shine all the time, and two, because that body has to be able to physically cross them over, tell them where to go to talk to
Mhm.
them. Because I'm talking to them, the archangels protect me from all the negative energies. I could walk into any scary haunted house and nothing can touch me. Nothing.
Oh,
Because
that
I'm
is so
protected.
cool.
So I walk around completely now every day. I don't have fear of anything. Why should
Well,
I?
I definitely wish I had that because I'll tell you, I'm not as scared of like snakes or spiders, but I'm definitely
I
not a
don't want them
horror
either.
person. Come Halloween, I'm like, nope, you can clock me out. I'm I'm
Yeah.
chilling at home.
No, I don't like them either, but you don't have to walk around in fear about them. And I mean, people say, "Oh, I'm afraid to go on vacation because I'm going to die on that airplane and die." You're going to die because there's two rules we have to understand. As long as you understand them and comprehend them, you'll appreciate your life a little bit better. And rule
Yes.
number one is people die every day. And rule
Yep.
number two is you can't change rule number one. They're just going to
Yeah.
die. Everybody
Exactly.
dies. We're all going to die. I don't care what vaccine you get. You're still going to die
Yes.
because it's your time. And when it's your time to go, it just is. I don't care if you get hit by a car, fall off the top of a building, you know, debilitating disease, COVID, even suicide. When it's your time to go, when the soul gets called home to heaven, you're leaving.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think
That's
that
it.
there's not enough people that appreciate life enough that they're trying to find every excuse like, "Well, I could get stabbed, I could get robbed, I could get
Well, you
shot."
might.
Well,
So
you know,
what?
yeah, that's
And if
what
you didn't
happens. That's
fulfill
how
your
life
purpose,
works.
yeah, if you didn't fulfill your purpose, you'll just come back again. Like you've come back 27 times. But you know what? You've been here 27 times. I talked to a lady the other day. She's been here 36 times, and her husband's been
Wow.
here 33 times. I have been here since the beginning. I've been here over 23,000 times. My soul just keeps coming back. Do I remember all those? No. I do know that it was in my grandfather before it was in me.
Mhm.
It's in my, but we're all connected.
Yeah,
We all come from the same soul family. So we're all brothers and
right.
sisters. So it comes through with the soul. My grandfather wanted to know when I was going to be born. Not my other two brothers and sister, just me.
Mhm.
He didn't care about them, fuck them, whatever. But that's the same way I feel. Not really. I love them.
Right.
But,
Oh my
he wanted to know when I was gonna be born. My dad calls him up, says, "He's gonna be born. You gotta come to the hospital." He got ready to come to the hospital, heart attack, and died. His soul left
no.
his body, came into mine. Here I am.
Wow.
Because that's when your soul comes in, when you're born.
Right, right. Well, I mean, honestly, I gotta say this has been very
Enlightening?
eye-opening, very huh?
Told you I had a lot to say.
Well, no, and that's wonderful. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, honestly, Daniel, thank you so much, really, for coming here. You've been very insightful. We'll definitely have all the links for you guys if you want to check out his website. We'll definitely have those in the descriptions on the video. But Daniel, thanks so much for coming. Thank you for opening the 27 lives. I mean, that was something I did not expect that.
You know what that means?
What's that?
Do yourself a favor, man. Get it right this time so you don't have to come back. Go out and help as many people as you can. Everyone needs to do that because they want us to learn that lesson. They want us to fulfill that purpose so we don't have to continue to do this crap. And then, because life isn't bad, it's not hell on earth. We get to do cool stuff, but so here's the way it works. How old are you now? Because I'm not psychic.
No, right. It's like, what's the lottery numbers? No, I'm actually, funny story. You mentioned your birthday's in November. My birthday's in November. I'm 29. I'm turning 30 November 10th.
I'll be 55 and on the 18th, so not too.
Oh, cool.
Since you'll be 30 and you'll make it.
Yay.
I'm getting touched on. Well, if you were to when you would pass away, because you'd be over the age of 30 years old, the next lifetime that you would have to come back would be 80 years later. So if you died and you were 80 years old, then you would come back 80 years more after that. Okay. So it would be a total of 160 years and times that by 27. So there's been other lifetimes that you've been here. There's been nothing here. The reason I want you to fulfill your purpose is because the next time, if you had to come back, there's not going to be anything here.
Oh, wow.
And
I do. I kind of live in the way that, I know this might sound weird, but like that Nickelback song is, if your every moment was your last, it's like that to me is like, I do. I mean, I live every day like I try to, live it like my last.
You should, but help some people along the way. Punch your dance card. Don't have to come back, because the next time that you would have to come back, there's not going to be computers or phones or cars or gasoline or running water, anything. You're going to be living in a war-torn world. You're not going to be aware that you're back again, but you would have to live in that. And I don't want anybody to have to do that.
Absolutely not.
There will be some negative people who will do that, but that's just another lesson to learn. But you're not one of those people anyway, because you're just not. So you're actually a pretty nice person and generally happy and generally nice to other people, which is a cool thing, because you should be. But you've kind of been that way your entire life, as a matter of fact, which is pretty good. So I'm glad that you're doing that. Just continue to do that.
Well, thank you. Awesome.
Do you know how I know that?
How?
Because I'm the freaking medium, man. That's why.
Of course, you can see.
I'm talking to them, and they're telling me at the same time.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Well, thanks, Daniel, so much for stopping by. And again, thank you, the viewers, for stopping by and watching. Like I said, we'll have all of the links for his website and all that down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. Daniel, thanks so much for stopping by again. And next time, guys, we will see you later on the show. Thank you.